Thank you for joining me. My name is Brian from Condor Solutions, and today we're going to go over setting up the inventory control and running various reports, such as food costing, reorder reports, and inventory counts in order to manage that inventory. So let's go ahead and begin with setting up our vendors. So vendors is the first thing that should be set up before doing anything else. Vendors are used in various different reports of the reorder report and the food costing report in order to bring up the information that you require. So let's go into vendor. It is under maintenance and other maintenance, and I'll go ahead and sign in here. And here's our vendor maintenance screen. So in the top left, we have our various different vendors I've set up. Cisco, San Miguel, Asia Brewery. If we go to one of them, you can see you can put in the phone number, the fax number, the street address, the city, state, zip code, and notes. So notes can be anything particular about this individual vendor, such as it being only ordering imported beers, or you order your food from them, any other information you feel is applicable to that vendor. To set up a new one, it's relatively easy. Click on New, enter their phone number, enter a street address, enter a city, state, zip code, and any information about that vendor. Order food from them, and just go ahead and save it. It'll ask you for the vendor's name, and that's it. So go ahead and go through and set up all your vendors. So now that we've set up our vendors, we need to set up our ingredients. These are the actual items that the system uses to track your inventory. So an ingredient is different from an item. An ingredient actually carries the inventory values with it, as well as the other information about that ingredient, whereas an item is the actual unit that you sell on the front end. So going into ingredient maintenance, in the top left we have our ingredients, and I'm going to go to one Corona, a bottle of Corona. On the right hand side is our description, Corona, and on the left hand side we have our locations. And in the bottom of that little box we have quantity in stock, and it says 1 case, 0 packs, 1 units. So this is saying that we have 1 case and 1 unit of our Corona product under the bar location. So you can have multiple different locations for any individual product, such as bar, stockroom, front fridge, front area, where you store that product. Because in a lot of businesses, you might have that product in 2 or 3 or even 4 different places within your business, but it's all one inventory item. And you need a way to be able to count that item in all those different areas. That's where locations comes into. So you can see that my stockroom only has 2 units and my bar has 1 case and 1 units. So locations are important to set up, and you should set up locations the same for all the different products. So as an example, your liquor might have 2 or 3 different areas where you store it, and then your food might have 4 or 5 different areas that you store it. So you should keep in mind to set up the locations the same for your liquor products and your food products. So to set up a new location, it's as simple as going to an empty location number and typing in where that location is. Second storeroom. And that's it. When setting up a new installation, you would simply set up all your different locations first on that first liquor product you set up. After that, you could use that liquor product or that liquor ingredient as a template to create the next ingredients, so you don't have to do this all over again. And I'll show you that in a few moments here. On our right hand side we have a department, so our beer department. Now attaching the appropriate department to the particular ingredient is important, because our various reports can be run based on your departments or vendors. So it's important that you set up your departments correctly. And the same goes for vendors. You can run different reports based on your vendor. Now we have an option for selecting our unit of measures, whether it be units, pounds, ounces, or grams. And then we can specify how they are ordered and what kind of packaging they come in with. So in this example, we have units, and the units come in packs. So the Coronas come in a pack of 6, and for every case of Coronas, they come with 4 packs. Now this terminology for pack and case, it can change. We can modify that based on our needs. So not every product is going to have the same terminology as pack and case. They might be bags and case or bundles and cases. So you can change those as you need for each individual ingredient. And you can do that by simply typing in over here, bundle, cases. And you'll see it changes it in all the appropriate areas, as well as it will change it in your reports as well. So we have units per pack, pack per case. We have cost per unit, so 91 pesos per unit, and the retail per unit as well. At the bottom here we have reorder information, so we have reorder level and reorder quantity. So the way this works is reorder level says 1 case, 2 packs, and 2 units. And when you run your reorder report, it's going to look at all the ingredients and it's going to say, okay, which ingredients have stock that is less than the reorder level. So if I have a stock of 0 cases, 2 packs, and 0 units, then on the reorder report it's going to say, oh, that's less than the reorder level. So then what it will do is it will reorder this quantity here under reorder quantity. So it's going to reorder 5 cases, 2 packs, and 2 units. The buttons at the bottom here, recalculate cost unit, or recalculate unit cost. If I click on that, it'll bring up a box that says cost per case. So you can actually recalculate your cost per unit by putting in your cost per case. So if your cost per case is 2,000 pesos, it will automatically do the math and break down the cost per unit. And if I hit OK, it says, okay, the old unit cost is 91.666 pesos, the new unit cost is 83 pesos. So I hit OK. So change that value for you. We have transfer stock, which allows us to transfer stock between locations. So as an example, maybe you need to stock your bar because you're low on Coronas. So you're going to be taking stock from the stock room and moving it to the bar. But if you don't transfer that inventory, then your stock is going to be off because it's going to say you have less stock in your stock room, or it's going to say you have more stock in your stock room than you actually have, and less stock in the bar than you actually have. So we need to make that transfer. So let's say, for example, in the stock room, I'm taking 2 units, the only 2 units in the stock room, and I'm moving that to the bar. Okay, so I'm stocking up the bar with 2 additional units. I would simply click on transfer stock, and it asks me, okay, where's the stock coming from and where's it going to? Well, it's coming from the stock room and it's going to the bar, and I'm transferring 2 units. So now the stock room has 0 units and the bar now has 3. The last button at the bottom is adjust quantity in stock. Adjust quantity in stock allows you to make manual adjustments to the location stock quantity. So as an example, if I needed to add stock to the location in the bar, I can manually add it if needed. So I come in here, I go 1.0 over 10 packs, or I could subtract an amount. If I wanted to subtract an amount, that might be for like wastage or yeah, wastage is the best variance. Such as, you grabbed the Corona and you dropped it by accident and it broke. Well, now you need to account for that inventory. So you could do a manual adjustment and remove that stock from inventory, or you could potentially have a button on the front end that's used for wastage. And then change quantity will actually change the quantity completely under the location bar. So if you say 10 packs here, it's going to add 10 packs to the quantity in stock, and it will actually change the quantity in stock for the bar. So it will no longer have 0 cases, it will no longer have 3 units, it will simply have 10 packs. So let's do an example of each. So let's add a quantity. I'm going to add 1 case to the bar. And this will pop up here, which I'm not going to go into within this training video, but it's the distributor maintenance and is essentially used for distributing alcohol products. So now we have 2 cases. So now I'm going to go back into adjust quantity, and I want to subtract an amount. So I'm going to subtract 1 case now. So now we only have the 1 case. But let's say I want to change the quantity. So I'm changing the quantity. Now I just want to say, you know what? I only have 2 packs. So now it changes, removes the cases, removes the units, and now I just simply have 2 packs. Now, as I said before, a best practice when setting up a new database would be create a liquor item, and then create a food item, and then use those as templates for creating all your other items. So I'll show you what I mean now. So I want to create another Corona product. Maybe let's say Corona Light now. So instead of going here and go new, I'm just modifying the Corona, but I'm not going to save over these changes. I'm going to save it as a new product. So I changed Corona to Corona Light. My department's the same, my vendor's the same, so I don't have to change that. My units of measure are all the same, and the cost is all the same. And my reorder levels I'm going to leave the same as well. Now you'll notice that I have all the locations already programmed in there, which is great. I don't have to program any new locations. And I'm simply going to go File, Save As. And I'm going to call it Corona Light. Now I've created a new ingredient called Corona Light, and I didn't have to reset up all the locations. So that's a great method of creating new products for a new database and an existing customer's database. However, if it's an existing customer's database, you have to make sure that you remove the quantities in stock on that new item, or count that item immediately, because it will actually copy the stock levels over as well. So I can just manually adjust this if I want by just going to change quantity amount and go 0, and I could potentially do that to each of these items or each of these locations, or I could fix that by doing an inventory count on that particular product. So that would be the ingredient maintenance. Now the next step is going into item maintenance and linking our ingredients to the particular item. So we've set up our ingredients now. Now we need to link those to the items that we sell on the front end. So we'll go into item maintenance, and we're going to bring up the product Corona. And now we're going to go to Add Ingredients. And you'll notice that it's already linked to the ingredient Corona. So whenever I sell this product, Corona, it's going to take out 1 Corona from inventory. Now, I could make it sell 2 Coronas, or in the case of buckets of Coronas where they might sell 4 or 5 or 6, I could make it sell 6 Coronas. And you'll notice once I change the 6 Coronas, what's actually going to happen here is it's going to change and it's going to update the item's cost in item maintenance to reflect the cost we put in for that ingredient. So we're going to know exactly how much it costs us to actually make this ingredient. So now you'll see it says 4.99 pesos for the Corona. So that would be for 6 Coronas. But since this is only an individual Corona, I'm going to delete that and I'm going to add Corona back in. So I just go to my add and I go to Corona and I'm going to say 1 unit. Now I can attach multiple ingredients to this product. So maybe every time I sell a Corona, I also give them a napkin. So I'll choose my napkin and I give them 1 napkin every time. And what this does is it actually gives an accurate reporting of what the cost of selling this Corona is, because I not only give them a Corona, I give them a napkin. So the cost will now update to 83.83. So update the cost of that particular product. So that's for the liquor. Let's take a look at a food item. I have a burger here. Let's see. Burger is mushroom Swiss. So we have our mushroom Swiss burger. And under ingredients, you can see that I've actually broken this down for all the different types of ingredients in that particular product. So there's Swiss cheese, you can see the napkins there, the burger wrap that it comes wrapped in, the burger bun, the 6-ounce patty, and the mushroom. So I've put all those products into here, and it tells me the cost of all those products as well. So once you've linked your ingredients to the items, then you're able to accurately track your inventory. The next area that we're going to go into is we're going to go into the various different reports. So now that we've got all our inventory items properly set up and our ingredients are attached and our vendors are set up and everything's good to go, let's go over some of the reports. One of the reports I want to show you is the reorder report. How to know how much inventory you have and what you need to reorder. So let's go into that. So for the reorder report, we can sort it by 2 different ways. You can sort it by vendor and ingredient or department and ingredient. Let's take a look at by vendor and ingredient, because normally when you order, you want to see all the products grouped under that particular vendor. And then we can also choose whether or not to show the ingredient name or not. So we'll run the report. And while this report generates, it's going to look at all your ingredients. It's going to compare the reorder levels with what you actually have on hand, and it's going to tell you what you need to order. So for the vendor Asia Brewery, I know that I need to order these ingredients. I need to order Bud Light, Corona, and Corona Light. So you can see these are the values that I specified for the reorders. How many reorder quantities do I want to order? I need to reorder 5 cases of Bud, 5 cases and 2 packs and 2 units of Bud Light, 5 cases, 2 packs and 2 units of Corona, and 5 cases, 2 packs and 2 units of Corona Light. And then under Cisco vendor, I need to order all these products. I need burger buns, I need burger wraps, and mushrooms. So this is a quick and easy report to find out what you need to reorder, and it can be run at any point in time. So now that we've done our reorder report, now we need to receive that order. So we made the reorder report, we placed the order has come in, and we need to receive those products into inventory so that we can properly track it. So we'll go to ingredient maintenance, and we would choose one of the items on the order. And we're simply going to adjust the quantity to stock. So we're going to go add amount to quantity. And we're going to specify the cases that we received. 3 cases or packs or units. And then we would go to the next item. And we would adjust the quantity. So the case is received. And so on and so forth. And after we're done, we can simply close out of this and all those products are received. And we'll be able to see that history of when they were received by using our activity report later on. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to print off your inventory count sheets so that we can do a food costing report and enter those numbers in. So we'll open up our inventory count sheet. And at the top, I have some criteria I can select. I can select whether or not I want count sheets for items based on the departments of the ingredients or by the vendor. So I'll do it by department, and I'll choose the beer department, or I can choose all, or I can choose some. But we'll just do beer for now and go run report. Once the report generates, it'll bring up this screen here, and now we have our count sheets for all the beer items. So the Bud Light, Corona, Corona Light, Pilsners. And you'll notice it shows up all the different locations that we have set up for those ingredients. So bar, stockroom, front fridge. Shows you your current inventory on file. So for the Bud, we have no ingredients in the bar, but we have one case in the stockroom. So then your staff could go on the right hand side here and count the products. Okay, so in the stockroom they count one case, 0 packs, 1 unit, and then in the bar location they count one case, 1 pack, 1 unit, and go through the list. Once they've done that, then they'll be able to go into the food costing report and enter their inventory counts. So now that we've gone ahead and done our inventory count sheet, now we need to put those counts into the system. And we can do that by using our food costing report. So go ahead and open up our food costing report, and we're going to choose the same department, the beer department. And we're going to choose enter inventory counts. And we're going to go ahead and plug in what our staff members had counted. So we put in our cases, we put in our pack levels for each individual ingredient, and then we can put in our individual units that we counted as well. Once we're done, we can hit OK. And we have 2 checkboxes for this report. So we can choose to not include ingredients with a 0 count. So ingredients that don't have any inventory whatsoever and no count will be excluded from this report, because this is going to be our food costing report, and it's going to show us our inventory count report on the same window. And the bottom one says don't update ingredients with a 0 count. What that does is it doesn't update a ingredient that has less than 0 counted. So it has a negative inventory value, which usually means there's some sort of problem with your inventory. So by leaving that unchecked, we will ensure to update those ingredients. But if we leave it checked, then those ingredients won't get updated with our inventory count values. Once we're ready, we hit run report, and it brings up our food costing report along with our inventory count. At the top here we have department/ingredients, the cost/unit of measure. So the cost/unit of measure, that's the cost per case. So the Corona is 2,000 pesos per case. The units/unit of measure is the number or the amount of units per case. So there's 24 Corona units within one case. And then we have the cost, which is per unit, 83 pesos. And then the ideal units and ideal cost. So the ideal units and ideal cost, that is what the system has recorded your inventory levels to be at. So this is what you should be at. The actual units and actual cost is any inventory values that you counted prior to running this report. So we counted 78 units, but the ideal units is 39, which gives us a variance of 3,250 pesos. You'll notice that the units that we haven't counted here, beef patty for example, they'll simply show 0 actual cost and 0 actual units. So this is the food costing report. Now you don't have to run this only when you do inventory counts. You could run it separately by itself. In order to do that, all you simply have to do is close out of the report, and at the end of the report it's going to ask you, do you want to adjust the inventory levels to the counts that we just put in? Now, if you just did a count and that's a real count, you can hit yes. But if you didn't put a real count in, if it was fake, then you could hit no and it won't update your inventory. That way you're allowed to run the food costing report at any time. So let me show you how that's done. Let's say, for example, we select all our departments and we choose enter inventory counts. But we're not going to put in any values here. We're just going to hit OK. And then we're going to run the report. So it's going to pop up and it's going to bring up the food costing report. Now you can see it's still showing us the units that we have in the system. So the Coronas, the Pilsners, the Bud Lights, Buds, Corona Lights. And it's not showing us anything else that doesn't have inventory. If we wanted to see the rest of the products, I could close out of there and uncheck this and go run. And now it shows everything. And again, simply close out of there. And when it asks you, do you want to adjust the inventory levels? If you're just viewing the report, click no. So the next report that we're going to look at will be the activity report. So the activity report is going to show us anytime a manual inventory adjustment is made. So, for example, we can specify our start date and start time and our end date and end time. And we can also select a particular employee to look at or all the employees. And we're going to choose our ingredients and what we want to look at. So change quantity, negative, and positive inventory adjustments. Once we've done that, we can run our report. And it's going to bring up our activity report for ingredients adjustments based on our time and date range that we specified and the employees we chose to look at. So here you can see the date, the time, the terminal it was done at, the employee who did it. The supervisor column is not applicable in this, nor is the check column. Data 1, that's where all our information is. So it's going to show us cases, packs, and units. So on this particular line, this first one here, says ingredient adjustment. They did a positive adjustment. So they added something, or they added inventory manually to the Corona ingredient, and they added 2 packs and 3 units. Quantity change, so ingredient Bud Light. Someone changed the inventory quantity for the Bud Light, and they simply put in 0 quantities all the way across. So they changed it to 0 on hand. Down here we have a negative ingredient adjustment for Corona, and they took out 1 whole case. So that is the activity report and viewing manual adjustments.